Good afternoon. Welcome to the fourth session of SCTP. Now we have Hriday sir on here. He'll be continuing the forenoon session now. So over to Hriday sir.
Thank you, Anthony, sir. So, let me share my screen first. Okay. So, during the morning session, we saw an overall view of Autodesk Fusion 360 software environment. We also did some modeling exercises, 2, 3 demos, and also we did a sheet metal product. Then we did the flat pattern of that product and how to convert it to 2D drawing. That means drafting was also demonstrated in the morning session. Then we did a night lamp tool using a forming tool. Then we gave some rendering to it. We saw how to take an image of that rendered product. So now let us begin with a small session on the animation workspace. So here there is an assembly of a knuckle joint, which you will be familiar from our machine drawing textbook. So let us change our workspace to animation. So this is our animation workspace. The animation timeline is given at the bottom of the workspace, and of course we have our view cube in the canvas area, and in the browser we have the components. So here it has got only a knuckle joint and some bodies are there. So these are not individual components but individual bodies. So if these were individual components, you could have directly exploded the assembly using auto explode. But since we don't have that provision in this particular example, so we'll see how we can manually create an exploded view and how to record that animation. So in the storyboard or in the animation timeline, let me move this cursor to say some 2 seconds forward. And then first I am going to move this taper pin backwards. So take the transform components, select the component. So you will get options to do the transformation in all directions. So now let us move it back and give OK. So now itself in the animation timeline, you can see a new thing has been developed. So let us rewind it and play it. So thus we can see that we have created an manual explode or a transformation of our first component. Similarly, you can just drag the cursor in the timeline and let us take our next component. So I'm going to take this pin out first. Okay, then give OK, then we'll get one here. Again, move a bit forward, transform. We'll take this collar out. Okay, again you move forward, transform, select this component and just remove it out. Okay, and just moving it a bit forward and just zooming in out. So that's also captured in this. So now let us rewind the animation storyboard and play it together. So this is how you can create an exploded view of an assembly, and to save it, just go here, publish video. So you can thus save this animation into a shareable animation file or that AVI file. So yeah, you can either store it on the cloud or you can store it on the desktop and later view that AVI video. Okay, so time being, we are not going to save this because we don't want that. It was just for a demonstration. So this is how you can, or you can also give some annotations. You can create a call out. You can just, if you want to say something during the animation video, you can just give a call out and type whatever remarks you want to give there and save it also within the video. So this is how you can use the animation workspace. So now let us go back to our design workspace and I don't want to save these changes. Okay. Now our next demonstration will be to do a static stress analysis on a bracket, on a shelf bracket. Okay. So the dimensions of bracket are shown here. It's around 250 by 250 with a curvature at the ends and a small hole at the middle at the ends. And it also has a fillet of R25. Now what are we going to do is apply a load of 2625 Newton on the top portion of the shelf and then we will check how the deformation or displacement and normal stress, shear stress, etc. in our Fusion 360. Then we will try to export the same thing into ANSYS and just do the simulation in ANSYS and compare the results. Okay, so let us move on to Fusion 360. So in order to save our time, since we have only 2.5 hours to complete this thing, I have already modeled the thing and basics of modeling we have dealt in our forenoon session. So it won't be much issue. Just it's just a sketch. If you want to go, you can just go through the history bar. Okay. So primitive thing to do is just to create a sketch. Then we need to extrude it. And we created two sketches to create these holes and a fillet was done. Okay, not this, a fillet was done. So until this only we require. Now let us move on to the simulation workspace. Okay. So in this particular problem, already the simulation was done prior. So let me remove those studies. So static stress, create a study. Okay, so we have erased the previously done simulation data and we will be doing it afresh. So our model is ready. So first thing we have to do is we are going to constrain this face from moving it. So go to the constraints. So this is our simulation workspace. So just there are certain things the setup can be done from here. A new simulation study. Now we have taken static from the window which opened just after selecting the new study. And here there is a simplify workspace. So if you are having some compound uh, problem or a compound model, you can go to the simplify workspace and remove any unwanted bodies or components which we do not want to interfere in our study. So this is a simple one. So there is nothing to simplify. Then there is materials, the study materials used. We can override the materials, make a custom material, all those things we can do. So it's just a steel structure now. Then constraint. So take the structural constraint. So we are going to fix this face. Select this face. So see the table here. So it is fixed in X, Y, and Z directions. And you can also notice this log symbol, which shows that our constraint has been applied. Next, we have to give a load on the top face. So go to the loads. give a load. The direction is correct. If you want to flip the direction, you can just click by flipping here. And what we require is a force of 2625 newtons. So units you can change here also. Okay, if you want to go for pound force, sound force, ton, dyne, etc., you can change here. So it's okay. We need Newton only, so let it be there. So the force has been applied on the top portion, and the constraint has been applied here also. So now, before solving, there are some few things which we need to keep in our mind. There is a pre-check option. So if the setup does not have any missing data, or is if the material is not assigned properly, constraints are not there, or load is not proper, if any degree of freedom is not confined completely, it will show some warning or error message. So you have to always pre-check before going to the solving portion. Then if you want to check degree of freedom, here you can see the degree of freedom view. This is a single component, so there is nothing to do. Only one phase we have given the constraint. That means the entire component has been constrained well. So there is nothing to worry in that. And now we can go to the solving portion. So either you can take it from the drop down, or you can directly click on solve. Okay. And regarding just a minute, before meshing, we don't want to refine the mesh. I have just given to mesh the model with the default settings. If you want local refining, of course you can do it. It's a simple problem. We are not going to do much refining, and also we can directly go to the solution. So this is where the main advantage of Fusion 360 comes. If you are solving the same on ANSYS and all, it entirely depends upon our system, our laptop. So here, this simulation is going to be solved in the cloud. Okay, so you have option here. You can either solve it locally, or you can solve it in cloud. So what difference it takes is that we need some cloud credits. Okay, since we are using education version, we have got unlimited cloud credits. Otherwise, if it is a purchased one, the cloud credits had to be paid. So if in such case, if you don't have much credits, you can do it locally. Definitely, it will take some time, and it requires a good system configuration also. So time being, we'll go for cloud credit itself. Okay, now let us wait till the simulation is complete. It will hardly take 3 or 5 minutes, because it's a simple problem. It won't take much time. So even if we close this, nothing is going to happen. The cloud process will be done as it is. In the morning, I had told you, you can come to the job status and check whether what is your job status and all. So it will, as soon as the simulation is over, it will be reflected here. If you have something to do else, you can do at that time. During this time, we'll see to one more thing. Here there is an installed ANSYS plugin. If your system has also got an ANSYS version installed, you can directly send the study to the ANSYS mechanical, or even you can export the entire study to the ANSYS setup. Okay, so the for product has been simulated. The minimum factor of safety is very less, 1.136 at the edges. So if you want to modify this bracket, you can give some rib here that was earlier shown in the design, and it was reworked also. Okay, so the simulation is now over. Now you can view the results. Safety factor varies from lowest is 1.136 and highest is 15. You can change the safety factor. Now you can view the normal stress, or the equivalent normal stress, von Mises stress. If you want to view the different types of normal stresses in each direction, you are free to view it one by one. And if you want to see the displacement, So the displacement is also visible from the figure itself. Okay. So if you don't want that actual one, you can close it here, deformation. So if you want undeformed, it will take it back to its original position or actual or adjusted. So this is adjusted so that that difference is quite visible. So if you are taking only actual, 0.4887 mm means very less. So you will need to zoom in to check the difference. See how much deflection is there. In order to view it visible, we are doing it on a scaled basis so that the deformation is much more visible. Okay. Now let us finish this result and do one modification in it. So I am just cloning this load case. So there is an option, right click on the load case, right click on the load case and clone it. So you will be having a second one. Activate the second one. I am just changing the load. Previously we gave 2625. Now we are going to give 2000 only. So all other things keeping the same, we are going to solve this again. So we have just made a single change, just reduced the load by 625 newtons. So let us see and we'll compare the result of two simulations together. And then we'll export this to ANSYS, simulate it in ANSYS and check whether the values are matching with our values in Fusion 360 or not. Maybe it will take 1 minute more. Okay. So there has been a little bit difference in factor of safety now. So now let us compare this. So this comparison will be helpful for you when you are trying to do some experiments, whether you are trying to do with different loads or with different materials or changing the constraint, something. So you can just see what all things you need to change. Okay. So what is the minimum factor of safety has been increased to 1.491. But the ideal case as suggested by Fusion is about 3. Okay, so still our load is more than the design. So definitely it needs some reinforcement in this area so that it can withstand the load without much deformations. Then you have option to synchronize the result type. So if you give the synchronize the result and if you take stress, then both the load cases stress will be visible now. Okay, so this is 1 by stress. If you go to normal stress in X, okay, in Y. So like that. So you should always confirm that this is in a synchronized manner, or else you will have to change individually. Say I changed this into stress, but here it won't be changed. You have to individually come and change from here. Okay. So if you have more cases, you can take more viewports and you can compare those cases together. And there is option to animate also. Similarly, as we have seen earlier, you can record this into AVI, save the file and just check. See, increase the number of steps. Number of steps should be minimum 2 and maximum it can be up to 100. Say we have kept it 50 and just we will try the simulation again. So here, as we have selected load case 2, only the load case 2 is being simulated. And if you click this record, again it will pop up a dialog window to name the file and you can save it either on the cloud or locally on your system. So these are a few things that you can do. And while taking a new study, let me remind you, you can do any number of different types of simulation studies are available. For example, if you want to do a static thermal simulation, and if you want to measure thermal stress, non-linear static stress, etc. So according to that and model frequencies, Of course, it's also a very important one. So you can just take which study you want and give the parameters and other things accordingly as your problem definition is. Okay. So now let us do one thing. We'll export this model into ANSYS and check what is going to happen. So if you set this one to mechanical, the load cases and constraints won't be sent. Only the geometry and meshing will be sent to ANSYS. So let us go to the setup. So I'm going to export this study to setup, and you can save it and directly take it to open it in ANSYS. Now let us wait till ANSYS is workbench is open. If anyone have to ask anything, you can utilize this time. Anyhow, it will take some time for the workbench to open. Yeah, it's coming. It might take some time. So we are almost there. Just within a couple of minutes, we'll be able to complete the simulation in ANSYS also and compare the results with those generated from Fusion 360. Okay. Now if you come out to the browser here, So now we know that the fixed constraint is here, the force which we applied here. But you should remember one thing, there is a change in orientation of the product, but it doesn't make any issues with us. Just you should understand that the orientation is a bit different. So x in this direction in answers is like this, z is like this, and y is in this direction. But when you come here, x is in this, z and y in the other direction. So that change you should be able to understand. Otherwise, if you take this stresses in xx and yyz, etc., it will create some misunderstandings or wrong interpretation. Okay, so that's the only thing. And we have the fixed loads and fixed constraints and loads have been carried over from Fusion 360 to Ansys directly. So in the second study, the force is 2000, and the first one it is 2625. And the direction is also correct, pointing downwards. So the only thing we need to do is either we can directly solve if you have some refining. If you want to refine the mesh, you can do it, or else let us try solving it without any refinements. So as ANSYS is much more precise in the case of simulations, definitely it has given us some warnings. So let me solve the second load case also. And this time we are disregarding the warning in both cases. We can refine the mesh so that the warning will not be there. Okay, let us insert some results into this. Okay, here the unit is in meter. Okay, and the total deformation obtained in load case 1 is 0.49 mm. So what did we get in Fusion 360? We got 0.4887. So comparing to Fusion 360, we have got, I think, a better result here, even without much refinement of mesh. So if you want a bit more accurate result, you can also refine the mesh in Fusion 360. But after all, we know that ANSYS is the leading one in simulation. So definitely for analyzing the deformations and stress, you can either directly go to ANSYS. But if you don't have access to ANSYS software, then you can take Fusion 360 also, because you see the error is very little only. Coming to the next one, 0.37366. Here it is 0.3724. So regarding displacement and all, it's almost seems to be almost right. Coming to equivalent stress, 1.89138. There will be a change in units that you should keep in mind. Load case 2, 1.44, 1.3. So you can see the values are almost equal in both the cases. So whether you analyze in Fusion 360 or if you go for ANSYS also, it's almost the same. But of course, ANSYS gives a much more precise value when compared to Fusion 360. And still you have sufficient option for mesh refining in ANSYS, and you can get a better result in ANSYS. So by this we will stop this simulation work also. And Now we have seen design, rendering we saw, animation, simulation. So manufacturing is out of our scope for time being for today. And drawing also we have had a session in our forenoon. So now the only thing remaining is generative design. So what is generative design? So the main advantage of Fusion 360 is its generative design using cloud support. That means using artificial intelligence and cloud-based calculations, it is capable of suggesting so many designs which can suit our purpose, provided the inputs will be given by the user. So to demonstrate that, it will take a huge time. Say even the simulation itself will take around 4.5 to 5 hours. So I will demonstrate with a already pre-simulated model. Let us close this. Time being, we don't want this. Okay, so this is from here where the problem starts. So we have a die, a forming die, which has got a top half and a bottom half, and this top forming fixture, and this is forming table. So this forming fixture has the top portion of the die within it. So if you just hide its visibility, you can see it. See, this is the top portion of the forming die, and it is aligned within the forming fixture. Now, coming to the bottom portion, this is our forming table. Whenever you select a component in the window, the corresponding component will be highlighted in the browser. Or else if you don't know where to find it, just right click on the object and you can choose find in browser. So now in browser, it will be highlighted. See, it has been underlined here. So this is our bottom forming table. So if you hide it, so you can see the bottom portion of the forming die. And now coming to other parts, there are two pneumatic cylinders, air cylinders, and with the help of pistons, this top portion will be moving up and down. Okay, so the sheet metal will be kept beneath between these two dies, and with the help of this pneumatic piston, it will be taking the desired shape of the die. Okay, and there are several hardware materials. Many of them have been hidden for time being. See, in order to keep the alignment of die and forming table as well as the bottom die and the forming table, several hardwares are used, several studs, alignment screws, etc. So those things are there hidden in it. Okay, for time being, we don't want those things, so I am hiding it again. So we have to design a fixture. The problem is to design a fixture which can hold these two cylinders. So there are four provisions for screws in one cylinder and four in another cylinder. And there are provisions for this screwing at the bottom part of the fixture table. So we need a fixture which can hold this pneumatic cylinders tightly to this bottom table. So first thing we have to do is we need to create a generating shape. See, we need to give some inputs, then only the software can give some suggestions to us. In order to do, we have some generative shape. Okay, so we are suggesting it should somewhat look like this, right? It should be fixed at the bottom part, and it should have provisions to hold these cylinders and in position. So it also should contain some provisions so that we can enter the bolts or screws for holding these two together, and also the screwdriver or tool head. If you are using an Allen key, whatever be the fastener you are using, the tool also should be able to pierce into this portion and it should tighten the things. So for that some provisions are given. And then generative end shape and starting shape is also there. So three extra components we have to draw. Okay, so how we can draw these components? See, we can draw a rectangle here. We can draw a rectangle here, and using loft command. So there is a loft command which can see different shapes can be joined together, and we will give a guiding path from here to here. Two splines will do, and using these four parameters we have created this generating starting shape. Okay, so once we are done with this, we will move to the generative design workspace. Okay, once generative design workspace is there, actually these products are these things have been additionally drawn. Why, I will tell now. So you can see that many things, only this generative shape, generating end and generative start, three bodies are only shown here, and all other bodies have been removed. So first time when you are bringing your components to the generative design, actually all of your bodies and components will be brought into this. This has been deliberately removed, but because we don't need that hardware, we don't need that die, that top forming table is fixture is not required, bottom table is not required. Such things have been removed. So how you will remove those things? For that we have this edit space. So if you give to or if you click on edit model, another one workspace will be opened. So here the unwanted model components are removed from here. That you can I will show you by removing this history marker. Okay, see, I am rolling back this history marker to the beginning. Just wait for a few seconds until all the actions has been undone by the system. Yeah, okay. Now you see your complete model is here, right? With all the hardwares and all. So what we will do is we will remove one by one. So in the first step, I am going to remove forming table. So it's gone from this. Similarly, in each step, we have carefully removed all the unwanted things from this design. And we will keep only the upper part of the table. So this is required because we need a preserved geometry. Okay, we need to tell the system that you should start with the preserved geometry. So this geometry, the system should not alter this particular phase. And this particular phase is also a preserved geometry region. The generative design should not change there because we have four locations of holes which can be mounted to the air cylinder, or which is to be bounded to the bottom part of the die. So those region should not be changed. That is why we call it as a preserve region. Okay. Then we have created a sketch. See, this is the sketch to make the computer understand this is an obstacle. The system should not develop any product touching those areas. Okay, so when this generative shape is curved to the actual product, it should not involve into this area, or it should not be extruding into this portion. So that is why we call this as an obstacle region. So after creating that obstacle region, we will remove that center die also. The table also will be removed, and then we will create some obstacles, connector obstacles. Why? We told previously we need some fasteners to be screwed, so we need some space for the tool which has to tighten these things to move into, and on the basis of we have created these obstacles also. Now, once you are done with this, you can click finish edit model. You will come back to your generative design. And now here we will select the preserve geometry. So you can select which all things. So these two bodies are now the preserve geometries. Okay. See, it is represented by green in color. Okay. Then obstacle geometry. So obstacle is shown by red in color, and then you have a starting shape which suggests the primitive shape of the fixture which should be developed. Okay, so now we have most of the things. Now we need to give the loadings. Okay, so this cylinder will be acting some load or moment on the starting shape. The piston is moving regularly up and down, so there will be a moment acting on the starting point of the generative shape due to that moment. Also, due to gravity, due to the weight of the air cylinder piston, it will be also giving some moment on that. So such considerations we are giving here at the bottom part as static loads. Okay, so let me minimize other things. So we have defined those moments. Let me close the obstacle. Okay. So you can see a blue mark here, right? So it defined the moment, and the load is given by this arrow mark down. So constraints are also given. This bottom face we have kept it fixed. So once the loads and all things are given, you can just generate this. So this is not a generated one. It will take some time. So we will watch a generated one. So coming to the generation, here also there are some things you should pre-check that like in simulation also. And then there is a previewer. It will give a preview of the object which is to be generated, and then generate status and results. So this has been already generated. It will take around 5-6 hours to generate. So we'll directly go to the generated ones. Okay, so see, around 11 generative designs have been suggested after running the simulation. Okay, so it will take a lot of time to simulate. That's why we have already chosen and already done demo version. Okay, and there are several factors which you should consider which one you should take for your purpose. So for that, see, these are the factors. Just come to the left side of the screen, outcome filters. So here, if you go down under the manufacturing method, you can see three different methods are there: unrestricted method, additive manufacturing, three-axis milling. So I have chosen only additive and three-axis milling. Then comes materials. Which material you want? Aluminium, aluminium 6061, aluminium, AL-Si10, Mg, and stainless steel. So all I have taken or chosen only these four materials. And of course, there are some volume objective ranges, which within how much volume the material should be, what should be the factor of safety. So if you go through these outcomes, these are sorted by recommendations by the software. So you can just go through this and see the factor of safety limit is given to, but the minimum factor of safety in each designs are described here. So in the first one, it is just 3.42, but second one, it is 12.89. Next 3 point, 14.76. So in every cases, there will be a lot of factors that you may need to consider. Okay, and these all are different also. So this one was aluminum 6061, this stainless steel, and three-axis milling. Three-axis milling will be in most one. So here there is one additive aluminum, but the factor of safety minimum has been 10.85. Okay, then maximum displacement is just 0.01 inches. Then von Mises stress developed are shown in each of these. Then expected volume, expected mass of the suggested design is also given in this. And we have not given cost restrictions. If you want, you can also give cost restrictions if your company suggests so, or if your project suggests there are some limitations, you cannot go further this much of cost. So if you give that cost cap also, then accordingly it will be again streamlining or sorting the suggestions. So that's where artificial intelligence comes into play in Fusion 360. Depending upon the many user inputs, you are getting favorable design. See the design, what we have given and what they are suggesting. So this looks something more refined, something more uh, good aesthetic, and it does not have much material. If I was using a bulky fixture as we saw in the previous one, you can cast one, but that cast iron fixture is an unwanted thing. That much load is not going to be acted on it. That much moment will not be acting on it. We are wasting a lot of material on it. So now it seems to be somewhat convincing. This will do. Okay. So I am randomly taking any one object. Okay. So just tick it and let us compare this thing. So if you double click on the particular design which you have selected, okay, I just randomly chose one. So our Fusion 360 has done around 50 iterations. So in each iteration, what is the difference caused? You can just move back and see. Okay, we should give it a bit of time. So after 32 iterations, this was the shape. Okay, because in some cases we might not like the final shape. So we can go back from here and take some point, and from there you can export that model. Okay. Now this is the display you can change here. Model view, transparent view, stressed view. See, in this particular design, see the stress concentration is very low. Okay. So an ideal range is this one, but this is somewhat very low. That's why the factor of safety is very high. Minimum factor of safety is 14.76. So actually, we need not want this much. We can even go for some other version, but just for namesake, we have taken this. So now you will be understanding what the preserved geometry means. So these two parts, these two faces have been preserved as it is because there are certain holes which need to be matched with some other holes on some other fixture. So you should not interfere in that. And also see this space. So here that obstacle region is completely clear. So that the top part of the forming fixture can move up and down without any restrictions or any interference with this fixture. And now this is just a design which you need to refine much more. That is up to the designer's work. You can either design from the outcome, you can export that thing and you can work out on it and create something more uh, manufacturable. Of course this thing is not manufacturable in a three axis milling. So you need to refine this. You need to make the curves and shape to a machinable part. So that thing you can export from here and you can work on it. So this is what is all meant about generative design. So you can use this generative design either to create a completely new product. So here we have done is just an industrial application. You created a completely new fixture just from the starting shape. The starting shape was very primitive. So it contained a lot of material. We removed much material and we have made it somewhat aesthetically appealing and also manufacturable with a good uh, factor of safety. Then if you are giving restrictions on cost, that also will add to that. Okay, so now I think we have almost covered everything. Anything remaining design condition criteria? Okay, almost things we have covered in this. The only thing left is manufacture that we are not planning to do in this session. Okay, so are there till now any questions to be asked? Participants, you can just ask if you want to know anything. Well, while doing in animation, I forgot to demonstrate one more thing, how to take the exploded sketch. Just a minute, let me go back to that and we will do that too. We'll have a short break of 10 minutes and we'll rejoin back at 2:40 and we'll continue. Hello. Okay, welcome back. Yeah, okay, we have one doubt from Jobel. How can we apply two loads simultaneously? Okay, fine. So let me show that. Let us take the example of the bracket which we took earlier. Let me load the file. It's fine. Hope I am audible, right? Hello. Hope I am audible. Anyone can
Yeah,
respond?
I can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. I think there was some issue with my headset. I was not hearing anything. Okay. So here we had applied a load which was uniformly distributed throughout the top face of the load, right? So when we go to the loads and structure loads, actually we have only very limited uh, application types. Okay, you can either give us force, pressure, moment, bearing load, remote force, or hydrostatic pressure and remote moment. So if you are going for this remote force, and I am taking this phase, see the only thing is that you can just change its location. So you can give the x, y, z coordinates of the uh, force, and you can give a force on that particular point. Okay. And another option is that with the normal force itself, there is an option here to give in vectors. So in this, you can just give x, y, z forces, but there is one option. You can limit the target area. Okay. So limit target. If you click on limit target, see, you can, the sphere of influence can be controlled. So if you are giving a radius of 25, from that particular point, that radius of 25 only that force will be acting. See, like this. So only these two options are possible. So if you want to uh, apply a load for a particular distance, you can try like this, a combination of remote load as well as this point load with sphere of influence. That we don't have any option for a uniformly varying load or something like that, or control the distance. Or you may need to split the entire body into two halves, say one body up to a particular point and from the another body. And since they are bonded together by contacts, it will almost act, and you can give load on one. Maybe slight errors will be there in the results, maybe, but that will also be good, I think. Okay. So in Fusion 360, while applying load, we have just this much of uh, options to provide load. So Jobel is here. Has he cleared? I think Jobber is not in the meeting now. Okay, so these are the two methods where you can change the loads. Or other types of loads, if you go here are linear global load. So the a point of acceleration amount also you will have to give, and you can give gravity also. If you come down here in loads, the gravity now it is off. If you check it on, then the gravity load will be also applied along with this applied load. So these are the changes which you can do while working on the loads. Then you can also define the point mass. Now we'll go back to our knuckle joint example. So we do have a animation timeline here. So if you want to get an exploded view of this components, what you need to do is that when you go to drawing, you will be getting two options. Either you can take it from design or you can take it from animation. So if you are going from design, then see how it differs. And now we can create the projected views. Okay. So these are the views. If you want to scale the things, you can scale from here. Okay. Just double click on it. If on 1:1, or if you want 1:2, 1:2 will do. Okay. So this is how you can take the drawing. But if you want this exploded view, what you should do is that design, drawing, from animation you have to take. Okay. Then you can create multiple storyboards if you want to do the animation in multiple ways, multiple exploded ways in one level up, two levels, etc. You can create more storyboards, and you can create more animations, and then go to the drawing section. Now you have the drawing of the exploded view. So if you neatly arrange those, we just did this for demo, so it was not arranged well. So if you are planning and arranging it in a well manner, so you can get the exploded view directly from it. So it's very easy to get that exploded view. So the many different types of drawings or the creating the drawings we have seen. Then any other questions? Actually, we have completed ahead of the schedule. Okay. So I thought generative design might take some time, or you might be asking some doubts or questions. So, but it seems the session was winded up much earlier. Okay. So now it's up to you. Any doubts or anything you need to know more, or any doubt clarifications you require, you may ask now, or you can type in the chat box now. Anything you need to repeat me? Composite modeling capabilities. Could you be more specific? What do you mean by composite modeling? That means composite materials. Are you asking about materials? Laminate properties. Actually, we should create custom properties. The default standard materials are only available in Fusion 360. Okay. So if you need to go for that, you have managed physical materials. So default materials will be there. You need to add on that. Laminates or other things won't be there. Some basic materials are only available. Customization is possible. We can create new material of our own. Any other questions? So in a nutshell, let me rewind from the beginning, which we saw in the forenoon session as well as in the afternoon session. So first, we had a detailed session on the design workspace. So here there is a view cube. So once more, I am reminding the things. So we do have a history bar at the bottom. So which all or whatever features you are adding to the model, it will be reflected in the history bar unless you are switching it off from here. So on the right bottom corner, there is a settings. So if you click on that settings, there is an option for do not capture design history. Unless it is switched off, all the design history will be captured, and anytime you can roll back to a particular point and restart from there without undoing. Okay, so undoing and rolling back history both are different. If you undo, it's gone, then it's over. But if you are rolling back to history bar, you can anytime switch it, or it's like suppressing the model or suppressing the features that we have added. Then we saw about this browser. This browser has got sketches, bodies, and components separately. So the visibility of each can be toggled at any time by hitting the I button here. And to activating a component, see here this forkend is a particular component. So if you want to activate it, you have to click on that. So all others have become inactive. Now if you create a new sketch or if you create a new body, that body will be attributed only to the forkend. Okay, it will be a part of this forkend. So similarly, if you activate the other component and if you draw something or if you extrude something, you keep a hole, all those things will be reflected on this particular component only. Okay. If you want to go to the parent component that is in hole, you have to activate it from the top level. Okay. So that's the browser. Then comments. Yes, we didn't see this. Okay. See, if I want to inspect the cross section that we earlier did in morning, I took this. Okay. See, I want to capture this. So come here to the comment box, capture image. So now you can see what is on the canvas now has been captured and it is saved here. You can give some comment here, cross section, post. So here, if you have more than one or two collaborators, uh, when he is taking this design, he can easily find out what is our wish or our will. Why did we capture that particular image? What we have to communicate with them. Such things you can keep in the comment box and it will be saved also. Already it has been automatically saved. When you, whenever you enter a comment, that comment will be automatically saved. See, the version has changed from 9 to 10. Okay. And one more thing is that you can group these things. Okay. see if you can want to group a particular components design, so you can select those things, right button, and create a group. Okay, so it will be easy if the design is composite, or you are going to give this to some other client or some other uh, contact person. Otherwise, look at the history bar. If you scroll this bar, there are so many features added up in it. So if you have not personally done it, and even if you have personally done it, after a long time, if you come back to review some of your designs, you will be confused. It will be difficult for you to analyze that. So it's always better to group similar products or similar components together in a complicated design. And one more thing, we did say that we can share our designs, right? So now I am going to share this design with you. You can personally check it in your mobile or your laptop. Okay. So how can you share this? Go to the top left portion. Okay. So here there is an link to share. Okay. So I am going to take public link. Wait for a second. So if I want to create a password here and give that password, okay. And then if I give the link to a group of persons, and if I give password only to one or two, only those one or two will be able to open it. I don't want a password here. Allow item to be downloaded. If I am checking this, you can download this component. Okay. Otherwise, you can only have a view to the component. You cannot download it or you cannot edit it. Okay. Now I am going to copy this link and I am going to share it in our Google Meet chat box. So you can personally have a look at it. So the participants are requested to click on the link which is provided in the chat box and just view the model by yourself, how it looks like in your browser, in your mobile, or in your laptop or desktop, whatever. So I'll give a 5 minutes time for you to check it out, how it looks like in your mobile phone. So here you don't need any software, and that's the another advantage of link sharing. If the client or if your guide, project guide, do not have the software, no issues. You can just share this link to him. He can open in any browser, Google Chrome, Firefox, whatever browser he is using. He can open it in the browser. He can add the remarks. He can view the 3D of it. You can just revolve and look at it, zoom in, zoom out, etc. There are a few particular options in it. You can check those things. In the meanwhile, I'll try to demonstrate the same through my mobile phone also. Just a minute. So time being, I am stopping sharing from this laptop and I'll be sharing from my mobile phone. Just a minute. Okay. Uh, See, now I have shared my mobile screen. I hope it is visible to you. So when you click on the link, it will show open in app, download app, or continue in browser. I already have the Fusion 360 app installed in my mobile too, but I am going to continue in browser. Click on the continue in browser and wait until the model is loaded in your phone. It might take some time to load. Participants, anyone, have you observed that anyone could open it? Are you able to see the model shared by me? Anyone? I mean, I have shared my mobile screen now. So are you able to see the model in that? Something has happened.
No, I can see on the black screen.
Something happened. That's what I was also thinking. I'll just close the stop the sharing and again reshare. Yeah, I think now it is visible, right? So this is how it will look when the link I shared will be opened in a mobile browser. Okay. So there are so many things. You can inspect the dimensions and all. See, I chose 2 points on the design and it is showing the X and Y coordinates as well as the net distance or the total dimension of that particular point. And you can just browse with your hand. Just you can revolve and watch it from all points. And if you want to do some notes, so you can just type. You can just give an arrow mark or something like that. So you want to type something, correct this. Okay. And I am giving some arrow mark. Oh. So you can share your design in this way. So the other person need not have any software installed in his phone. He can directly just give some arrow marks, check this like this, right? To see the top view, you can click here. He can also take a screenshot and save it like that. So this is the main advantage of being in or using a cloud software. So let me stop sharing my mobile screen and we'll come back to our laptop desktop version. Okay, so this is in short what Fusion 360 is capable of and what it can be done in it. Okay, so I think we can wind up the session very ahead of the schedule, 1 hour remaining. But whatever I have planned, I have conveyed to you. So the recorded link of this session will be provided to all the registered participants. Okay, any doubts? Anything you want to ask? Okay, so shall we wind up the session for today?
Yeah, I hope no one has doubt now. So, Hridaya had shown some insights on how to use Fusion 360. And in the morning session, we had seen how to model using Fusion 360, then the simulations, then how to animate, and finally, we come across with the generative design, which was very useful. So I would like to use this opportunity to thank Hridaya for delivering such a session. So thank you, sir. Now, we will be meeting tomorrow, and the feedback link will be shared in the WhatsApp group, so you can fill that. Okay. So once again, thank you all for coming. Thank you.